Hey everybody, I'm Joe. We're talking about the Marvel Multiverse TTRPG today, and we're going to be discussing what I believe is the single best game mechanic in the core rulebook. Here we go. What makes for a great game mechanic in specifically a TTRPG? And I believe there's a few aspects. The first is it needs to be relatively easy to understand and to implement. It should be something that does not bog down the course and the pace of gameplay, which we all know when we come to complicated mechanics, it just becomes cumbersome to be able to implement them, and we tend to skip over those mechanics. The next aspect of a good mechanic is it should actually increase the enjoyment of the game and should increase the way that we engage with the game itself. It should be something we're excited to actually utilize, not something that is merely a stumbling block to trying to achieve the things we want to achieve. The third component of a great game mechanic is specifically that it makes the storytelling aspect of the TTRPG better. It is used to enhance the storytelling of the game, the flavor and the interest and the excitement in what is going on. Having a mechanic in combat, for instance, that doesn't just do more damage, but actually makes it more interesting, the way that damage happens, is just a good game mechanic. We want to have the stories we tell be engrossing for ourselves as narrators and for our players. And so what is a great game mechanic inside of the Marvel Multiverse game? Well, it's one that I talked about briefly in my changes to the game from the core rulebook video a little while back, but I thought it deserved its own video, and it is team maneuvers. So team maneuvers, I think, is an exceptional idea. It fits all of my requirements for a great game mechanic, and we had no idea it was coming. It was not in the playtest document. But team maneuvers are something that are going to enhance the ability of our characters to do exciting things. It is easy to implement, easier than any other way that people have wanted to implement this idea in other games, and it's going to add nothing but flavor to the way that we actually tell our stories. So in this video, we're going to break down what team maneuvers really are. The idea of team maneuvers is very simple to understand at its core. A group of characters wishes to identify themselves for at least some purpose or some period of time as a team. And if they have the time to discuss tactics before battle, they can come up with a team maneuver. And here's the genius in the team maneuver concept. In other TTRPGs, players have wanted to combine the abilities of their characters together to create an overall better effect at the table. And this is always a really fun thing to do, and it's something that we encourage as game masters. But it has two major problems, or two stumbling blocks, to making this a reality during a battle. The first problem is sometimes a character's or a particular class or subclass's features just do not interact the way we want with another class or subclass. And it's really frustrating when the mechanics just are written in such a way that they don't interact and allow for interesting decisions. We want our players to work together, but they sometimes find that mechanically they're going to be better off simply using their turn alone in combat. And that breaks down the idea of being able to do team exercises or team maneuvers. The second problem that comes into play when a group of players wants to actually utilize some kind of a joint combo or move is it relies too much on initiative order. One character inevitably sets up an effect, the other one knocks it down, but if they didn't roll their initiative in the right order, or if other aspects of the initiative hamper the ability for this to go off, all of their planning might be undone. The last problem is going to be that inevitably this effect that we might want out of another TTRPG is going to take away the action economy of one character in order to improve the action economy of another. And it's always a question of whether or not reducing one action economy to boost another is better than simply having two reasonable average action economies at the table. The team maneuver mechanic in Marvel Multiverse addresses all of these problems. Let's examine how it does so. The team maneuver is the characters sitting down beforehand and deciding on a maneuver, and it is up to the players to flavor this in whatever way they want. It doesn't matter how they actually flavor the thing they are going to do. Their characters do not need to have abilities that specifically work well with each other mechanically, and they do not need to go in any particular initiative order. The team maneuver has the additional benefit of simply improving the action economy or the abilities of the individual players automatically without needing to have one character reduce action economy to improve another. In other words, the maneuver simply works and grants a boost to all of the characters. Since the boost is predefined inside of the core rulebook, the bounds of the power that this maneuver has is limited on the page. And so we don't have to worry about a team maneuver being an instant win or an auto kill or something that is going to simply break the encounter's balancing. And that also means that if a narrator uses a team maneuver, it will not insta-kill the party. And that's a really good thing. So with all of these benefits, how does a team maneuver actually work? Well, they have to decide what the maneuvers are up front, and all they need to do is at the beginning of a round of combat, they need to announce that they're going to do the maneuver, and they need to pay focus. Let's examine these things. A team maneuver must be initiated at the beginning of a round of combat. It doesn't need to be the first round of combat, just the beginning of a round of combat. And it does not say that it needs to be initiated by an individual member at the beginning of that member's turn. So at the beginning of a round of combat, any character, it does not need to be their turn in initiative, who is part of the maneuver can announce, we are doing the maneuver. And it's encouraged inside of the core rulebook that there'd be some kind of a slogan or slang or some kind of an announcement that that there is going to be something happening here. Again, that's all part of flavor. The nice thing is there is no requirement in the initiative order for how this is begun, and it's the beginning of a round of combat. I really like that. A team maneuver is going to initiate at the beginning of a round of combat. It does not need to be the first round of combat. The team needs to know who is participating in the maneuver at the beginning of a round of combat. They pay focus that is predetermined, more on that in a minute, and they announce at the beginning of a round of combat that it is being initiated. Now, here's what's really nice about this. It does not need to take place, the beginning of the maneuver does not need to take place on a character's turn in the initiative order, merely at the beginning of a round. This is so that the defensive abilities, the defensive maneuvers, help out for the entire round of combat. Any player that is part of the team can announce at the beginning of a round of combat, we are initiating our team maneuver. This means that the initiative order that is actually rolled is completely irrelevant to the team maneuver being initiated. And that's really getting past a lot of the pitfalls of trying to piece together maneuvers in other systems. I absolutely love it. At that moment, each of the players that is participating in the maneuver needs to spend an amount of focus that is predetermined, and they need to be within 5 spaces of another player that is, or another character that is participating in the maneuver. They also must be of a rank where they can take part in that maneuver. So let's get into the different flavors and levels of team maneuvers. First of all, there are 3 flavors of maneuvers. There's offensive, defensive, and rally maneuvers. Of these, the offensive maneuvers are going to be the most popular. These are going to grant benefits to offensive attacks that the characters make during the single round of combat when the maneuver is taking place. The defensive maneuvers are going to grant damage reduction to all of the players who are taking part in the maneuver for that full round of combat. By the way, this is why the actual maneuver needs to begin at the beginning of a round of combat. If enemies rolled earlier in initiative, then the team maneuver must be able to affect the defensive abilities before the character's turns come up in the initiative order. The rally maneuvers are last, and these are going to grant tactical benefits to the players for one full round of combat. Again, this is really benefited from the maneuver starting at the beginning of a round of combat rather than a character's turn in initiative order. Each one of these flavors of maneuvers comes in 3 different power levels, levels 1, 2, and 3. And so there are technically 9 maneuvers that can be done and learned. And the levels have certain character level requirements in order to take part in them. As we said, maneuvers come in 3 different power levels. Each one has a certain focus cost and has a certain rank requirement in order to participate in it. At the announcement that a maneuver is being done, the character must be of a rank able to participate in the maneuver and must spend the focus that is associated. If a character cannot spend the focus that is associated, they may spend 1 point of karma and still participate in the maneuver. A level 1 team maneuver has a rank requirement of only being level 1. That's it. So any character can participate in a level 1 maneuver, and it costs 5 focus. A level 2 maneuver has a requirement of being a rank 3 character or higher in order to participate, and it costs 10 points of focus. Lastly, a level 3 maneuver requires a character rank of 5 or 6, and it requires 15 points of focus in order to participate. Please note that you may choose to do a maneuver of a lower level than you have access to, in order perhaps to either save your focus or to allow a team member of a lower rank to participate. But you can't go higher than your current rank allows for team maneuvers. Let's take a look at the offensive team maneuvers. A level 1 offensive team maneuver automatically grants an edge on any attack that the participating characters make for 1 round of combat. Please note that this is any attack, so reaction attacks absolutely count. A level 2 offensive maneuver is going to allow for every character to re-roll every attack made during that round of combat. A re-roll is different than an edge because you re-roll all 3 of your die and you take the better total result. Please note that this does not then stack with a level 1 allowing you to have an edge. It is simply the text as written, but you get to re-roll the entire roll to attack, and this is for any attack made. Reaction attacks absolutely count. This is the only full reroll mechanic that is in Marvel Multiverse, which is pretty cool. A level 3 offensive maneuver is absolutely bonkers. This is going to allow every participating character to guarantee a fantastic success on every attack that they make. So action attacks and reaction attacks are automatically fantastic successes with all of the double damage and bonuses that happen with a fantastic success with your character. When this actually goes off in game, you're going to kill a lot of enemies. I believe that the defensive team maneuvers are going to be the least commonly used of the maneuvers because they're very, very simple and may not actually provide benefit to every single participant, but they are nice to have and they very well might save somebody's life. A level 1 defensive team maneuver grants all participating members a 2 damage reduction. A level 2 defensive maneuver grants all participating members a 4 damage reduction, and a level 3 grants every participating member an 8 damage reduction. I would like to point out that it's very clear inside of the core rulebook that damage reduction does not stack, and so we need to remember that this replaces your current damage reduction. If a character is a level 2 character who has taken Sturdy 1 and 2, the level 1 defensive team maneuver does nothing for that character. That character might as well not spend the focus and participate in the maneuver. If your defensive team maneuver grants you a higher damage reduction than you usually have, then it might be of benefit. It is also worth noting that the highest damage reduction you can achieve in the game is a 4 damage reduction. And so you cap your damage reduction with a level 2 defensive maneuver, and you get the highest damage reduction possible in the game with a level 3 team maneuver. The rally team maneuvers, I believe, are the most hit and miss. Some of those amazing things are in here, and some stuff I probably wouldn't use are in here. First of all, a level 1 maneuver means that all enemies have trouble on all attacks against all of the participating members of the maneuver. Not bad. A level 2 rally maneuver allows for all participating members to roll a recovery check for health or focus, their choice, as if they had spent 1 point of karma in order to do the same recovery check. The thing I'd like to point about this is that it still requires an action on your turn to do the recovery check. So you can be part of this rally maneuver, but it will take the action of your turn in order to make the health or the focus recovery check. It's kind of dubious whether or not you want to do this, considering that you can do this at any point in time using a point of karma. But the level 3 rally maneuver is pretty incredible. It allows for if one character participating in the maneuver either dies or is shattered during the combat, then they come back to either 0 health or 0 focus, whichever one was affected. This is the only true resurrection in the game, and it's pretty amazing. The thing to keep in mind about the level 3 rally maneuver is it does not provide for all of the characters to have one free resurrection, but only one of the participating members. I love the team maneuvers. I expect to see the offensive ones more than any other, but it gets around all of the problems that people have had trying to combine character abilities in TTRPGs in the past with other games. It's simple to use, it provides immediate understandable benefits, it is bounded in the amount of power output you can have, it's going to be fun, and the best part is it's going to increase the description and the content of the game itself. I love these. I can't wait to see them in game. If you've been planning one at your table, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. But otherwise, it's important to note that YouTube is literally made out of buttons. I hope you press some of them. I'll see you next time. All right, peace.